And the problem with so many SOPs is they're written in an academic way, they're long-winded, they've got unnecessary steps. So that's the biggest problem with the corporate model.
Welcome to our $4 million strategy podcast. Today we're here with productivity guru Kris Ward, part of Win the Hour, Win the Day. Super excited to have you with us today, Kris.
Oh, I'm pumped to be here.
Okay, let's get started. Today our topic is about strategic execution. What things can we do, and you can share with our audience to make strategic execution the absolute best for your company?
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm probably going to serve you best by telling you what not to do. All right. So traditionally in the corporate world, you have standard operating procedures, and mostly these are written not by the end user. They're static in nature, and they're just there to cover liability. And they often also have training clumped in there amongst that. And so what happens is they become outdated really quickly. And I don't know if you've ever had a job, Carl, where the first day they threw a manual at you and you thought, I'm going to lose this job because I can't stay awake. And then a week later, you're supposed to be able to implement these things. So that's why we have our signature program, Super Toolkits. What they are is the documents are quite easy to create, and they constantly improve your efficiency. And the big difference is the clarity and the ease of use and the language. And the problem with so many SOPs is they're written in an academic way, they're long-winded, they've got unnecessary steps. So that's the biggest problem with the corporate model, where the money is wasted. And we take that into the entrepreneur world and think, oh, I'm never going to use those because they didn't work at my last job. And so you're just flying by the seat of your pants. So understanding that we just need to revise that, not eliminate it, or else you're just going to be like a hamster on a wheel forever.
Okay, you just said something that's super important there. There's this really fascinating difference of somebody who will work at a Fortune 500 company and they'll go down and work with a small entrepreneurial company, right? And I mean, small could be as small as from 1 to 50 to 500 according to the data, right? Depending on what you're looking at. So what is the biggest thing that they have to overcome when they are all of a sudden working with a small company and they don't have a bunch of documented processes for getting things done?
Well, here's my argument. My argument is those bigger companies have a lot of wastage in there as well, and they don't realize it. So it's not about learning how to go from a big company to a small company. It's that we've been institutionalized and brought up with this formula that doesn't work in the bigger companies. And then because of that, we won't use it at all in our small companies, saying, no, you don't understand. My business is different. I need to be creative. I can't have SOPs. But when you do them effectively, they will free you and allow you to get to the work that lights you up and brings in the revenue instead of the redundant tasks, because there's always pre and post work that you don't have to do, even if you have an incredibly small company.
And I love, so let's go and dive into that briefly here. And the SOPs, okay, that is like a scary word to somebody, because like, what do you mean by SOPs for the entrepreneur? What does this mean? What does this look like?
So it means that anything you do once, you're likely going to do 50 times, and you want to be able to get to the next thing. So I've had many clients who worked with me and say, oh my gosh, Kris, if I didn't have these super toolkits, even onboarding a new client would have derailed my week, even though I needed the business, I wanted the business, but some other ball would have got dropped, because you're always juggling. Because when you do have SOPs, often they're just not well written. They slow you down. So then you think, I know it, I'll do it myself. And it just gets clunky and messy really quickly. That's the biggest problem.
Kris, this has been awesome to have you on $4 million strategy today, talking to us about best practices on strategic execution. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.